Demolish all violators. Yo, it's too many styles. Who's the best now? Before you bow me, son, you better get your weight down. Imitation is the highest form of flattery. Wow, it's like Ace of Spades versus Cisco. It's the boom bap, boom bap.
It's the Boom Bap Hour, y'all, and I'm your host, Miss Ruby V, and we're here with a very special guest. His name is Ahsan The Golden Child. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Absolutely, no doubt, no doubt. How's everything going, everybody?
Yes, we're so happy to have you here, and we are celebrating a historical moment. Okay, so you have a digital remastering of basically your street tape that came out called Art of Emceeing, and that came out in like 96.
Yeah, it was 96, exactly. 25 years in November makes 96. And I'm glad you used the word street tape because it's not technically a mixtape, even though some like to call that a mixtape. I'm glad you used the word street tape. And we can delve into that now, or I didn't mean to cut you off if you were getting ready to say something. I didn't want to cut you mid-thought, but I wanted to say, that you said that.
Well, actually, this is the perfect time because basically, I would love for you to tell us like, what is the difference, because a lot of people use those terms interchangeably. So what is the difference? And please just tell us all about this, historical moment of you all bringing this back out.
All right. So, like I said back then, even when we, prior to doing the Art of Emceeing, I was in a group called Sounds of Creation, and we was all about being self-sufficient and doing our stuff. Even though we were looking to pin record deals, let's say, I don't want to say looking for record deals, but pin record deals. We also knew the importance of having ownership and even, an ability to put out your own music and not waiting for someone else. We put out a tape called Who Was SOC? Sounds of Creation was the name of the group. My brother, Grant Sharif, it was the two of us in the group, DJ producer combo. And we put out a tape, Who Was SOC? And I didn't want to call it, I called it a street tape because it wasn't an EP. It was kind of more loose based samples I put together, some quick stuff that, we put together a tape. And we're going to be re-releasing that too. That's going to get re-released as well. So, but I wanted to retell this whole story about Righteous M.O.B and everything, starting from the Art of Emceeing, even though Art of Emceeing is not the first chapter of our history, but it was like a pivotal point of our history. And as this interview progresses on, you'll see why. So I use the word street tape because it's not a mixtape. A mixtape is basically when you take a DJ takes a bunch of records of a particular genre or multiple genres and mix it together so that a person has a compilation of all the music they have. Also, a mixtape is something that a person can make themselves. Even though they're not a DJ, they can actually just put a bunch of songs on the cassette tape that they want to hear in their car or on their radio, on their box. I'm going to go with the old terms, a box. And that would be a mixtape. A street tape to me is a tape because a lot of in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, outside of Sugar Hill Records and Sugar Hill Gang, and prior to, Sylvia Robinson putting out Rapper's Delight, the way the music moved about was through shows, going to the park, going to the clubs. I know you guys heard the stories over and over again, but also a lot of those shows were recorded and those shows would get passed around through the five boroughs of New York and eventually down to Jersey, Boston, Connecticut, the tri-state area, definitely Philadelphia. And it was on the tape. So and we used to call them street tapes. Like, oh, you get that new street tape with so-and-so, or you get that new tape with, Busy B was battling Shantae. Peace to Busy B. You get that tape, and that's the term that we used. And so I felt that when we started putting out our music and I wanted, I'm saying to myself, we making all these demos and we're going to the studio, getting them re-recorded in big studios and mastering, we're putting our blood, sweat, and tears and money into it. And we passing the demo for people that don't even understand the music and the culture to tell us what's good or what's not, or what they want to put out. So I said, Lord, we're gonna take this into our own hands and let's put it out. So we were like, well, we don't want to put out a demo because we don't want people to hear that yet. So I came, light bulb flash. Well, we can make songs like this. Let's make another set of songs, put it out like that. So now after the success of the Who Was SOC, then I put out another couple. I put out a series called The God Ahsan Presents. I said, I was a magnet for MCs. I was a magnet for MCs. And it was just so many coming through the studio and so many people we were networking with, real networking, not just social media network. I'm talking about real networking, being at shows, meeting people and doing things. That's it. I want to put a 90-minute cassette together that feature and showcase certain artists. And what I'll do is when I go to these A&R meetings or go to a label that call us for a meeting, I'll drop off a tape so you can hear, like, this is what this is on the street right now. And this is what I'm working with. And I have the demo, if you want to hear albums from some of these artists on here, I got demos or I got professional material that's ready to go. So, and it's funny. I had a conversation with somebody maybe early 2000s after 50 and them did the mixtape circuit, and a lot of people was doing mixtapes and stuff like that. Another industry, I don't want to say executive, but rep, or they were doing record promotion, said to me, "Yo, Ahsan, actually, I think you were the first one," and I don't want the credit for this, but a few people came to me and said, "You might have been the first ones to do mixtapes on the level where you put artists that are not out." Piece to Doo-Wop. Doo-Wop used to put the Bounce Squad on every tape of his, always showcase them. But they were saying you seem to be the first one to put everybody on one tape that wasn't out or maybe slightly established or maybe had a little buzz, all on one tape before everyone started making tapes. Because then all of a sudden, like you said, in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s, before artists came out, everyone put out a mixtape. They'll make a tape of them. It'd just be a 90-minute demo of them rocking over industry music or their own beats. And they'll call it a mixtape or mix CD. And technically, it really was a street tape. And the reason why this person has said to me that they think you might have been the first one, because they got the tape before I started doing right around. Well, I was already doing a radio show in New Jersey, and real shameless plug, we got the longest running radio show in New Jersey, the Blueprint Radio.
I was gonna ask you that, let me throw
that plug in there. But before I met this person, I can't remember who it was, man. I feel bad that I don't know who it was that gave me my flowers back then. They had got the tape through somebody because our office, Righteous M.O.B Entertainment, was in the same office as Echo Unlimited, the legendary clothing line. So I know Marcy and Mark. So real quick, Echo was named, Mark Echo. He has a sister named Marcy. They're twins. Echo. That's why Mark calls himself Echo. Yeah. And I know Seth. Seth is their friend. Actually, Seth met Marcy. I'm giving them a nice plug, right? Seth met Marcy at Rutgers University, and and she told him about her brother and his stuff, and the rest was history. Well, anyway, we have music and stuff, and one day they came down and they heard the Art of Emceeing, and Marcy and the people that worked under her, as far as distributing the clothes and getting it out to the stores, said, "Hey, could we get 10 of your tapes, or 5 or 10? I forgot how many it was." I gave them the box of tapes. Then they came back with a check for the wholesale amount of the tape and said, "Thank you." And then I was like, "Okay, what's that all about?" "No, we want some people to check it out." Next thing they came back, they placed orders for the tape, but also gave us money for our troubles. So that's a good people. That was a good natured people to do that. And I definitely respect that. And I just remember that first time they came back with all these orders. And I'm like, I had to run back to mom's crib and stuff and find every double cassette recorder we could find to start making all these double dubs and get it to them so we could fulfill these orders. Because one spot in Vegas wanted 20, another part in Seattle wanted 10. And we had to fill all these orders, and then they shipped them out. And then on some of them, they already paid us up. They paid us up front for it. And then some of them, I guess when they got money from them, they gave us more checks for it. So it was like, whoa, okay, this is good. We're in the same box with Echo gear. So, the store is getting a shipment of the new Echo t-shirt or whatever, and then here's the Art of Emceeing, but we were actually selling them ourselves too on the streets, through the backpack and going to malls and various spots and selling them. But yeah, man, I think it got to the hands of some people who I ran into later doing radio, or when they got to a label and they met me, sending out records and stuff. They said, yeah, I had the Art of Emceeing. I remember getting that early on before other people were doing mixtapes. You might have been one of the first ones to do mixtapes like that. I said, well, they were street tapes, but whatever. I'll take the flowers. But I know that probably could be debatable, whatever. But
well, I mean, listen, there's a lot of people who, are definitely telling you that. So I would say it should have some validity for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yep.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yes, and it is awesome that it just like really took off like that. Like it went outside of, because you say you're based out of New Jersey.
Yeah. Jersey.
So it seems like it really took off, from there, and that's awesome in itself, because, we think about, these days and the advent of, social media and all that, and how easy it is for, anything to just kind of like, go wherever you want it to go. But back then, you had to put in work, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a big deal, for
you upload the music now, 1,000 people to hear it. If I wanted to get 1,000 tapes out free, or if I wanted to sell it, we had to dub 1,000 cassettes, or get one of those telex machines and just like fire them off. And we dropped this prior to the CD boom. So, mixed CDs weren't even a thing yet.
Nope.
Late 96, it was not a thing. CD players were out. I had a CD player. I played music. I was a DJ. I had it. We had the vinyl and we had a CD player when we did our parties and stuff. But,
right.
Everyone did not really have a CD player. I mean, I remember one game changer, I think, for the CD player was when PlayStation was able to start playing your music CDs on PlayStation. I noticed that, mixed CDs started booming then.
Right.
Now you could play it on your PlayStation or your other devices. You didn't have to use the CD player. Or, I think what really helped the CD game, those, them bookshelf stereo system that had the cassette and the CD thing at the top, or the 5 disc. I think that really helped.
I had one. Look, I graduated in 96. So man, just listening to all that was like, man, it was like, oh, I just miss this time. I do. It was like the lyricalness, I was getting, like, even though I know like the artists really were out there like that, I was, it was definitely giving me like Camp Low vibes. It was giving me like, I was just all in there, like a warm hug, just like I needed that.
Yeah. Definitely, man. I mean, it's so, I wish we did it during the CD era. But, and that's the thing, throughout the years, I'm thinking about, we didn't get to the peak where we wanted to. We didn't get where we were looking to do. No harbor, no bad feelings, but I'm like, this is the information age. All right. So due to our situation, that was our reality at the time, the cassette did what it did at the time. But there's no reason that it can't still do that. And people do appreciate good music and history. Some do. So I said to myself, we should somehow get this tape back out. We can't do cassettes. CD. I have CD burners, so I could do CDs. But I've said, I mean, we have all this technology that can be used for good. And I said, you know what? On the 25th anniversary, I'm going to find someone to help me because I'm busy. So part of entrepreneurship is to find other people that do what they do well. Like I could have sat there and remastered it, but I know someone, this is what they do. Here, I'm gonna pay you to go ahead and digitally remaster the cassette, and I'm gonna put it out there online so people can experience it. People who didn't hear.
Delegate. Nothing wrong with that.
Because if I had to do it myself, it still would be out there digitally. So we got that. Peace, my man Rick at R&J Studios in Amboy, New Jersey. Boom.
Yes, gotta love people who know how to do what they do and make our time valuable. You feel me?
Absolutely.
So, yes, that's awesome. Yes, and I mean, you had some really strong stuff on there. DJ Red Alert coming in strong with the intro.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
So, Uncle
I mean,
Red.
Hey, it was dope.
Yeah, and that was the time when Red, I mean, I remember when Red did that for me, man. That was at a time where it's just like, a lot of people were trying to do their thing, and Red, I mean, much love. Red always gave me a lot of love, a lot of gems and stuff like that. To this day, I mean, I take some of the stuff that he has told me in my everyday life to as a things I reflect back on. And then even with music, like and that was like part of the thing of me bringing it out. And now I want to bring back out a lot of stuff that we did that never really got the heights and went to. Red said, you know, it's not over until it's over. You know, you still here, right? You know, hip hop lives. It's a continuous thing. And I think it is at a time right now where we should have a renaissance or maybe a reflection on back to, not back, I don't really want to say back, we got to move forward. We always got to keep things progressing, but like to get see where this thing was at. Cause I think a lot of the modern day artists, rappers, or MCs, I'm not gonna say about the MCs, but some rappers, you know, no fault of their own, they just don't know what was there. You know what I'm saying? And I was having the conversation, and the best way I could look at it, I mean, if you ask that question, I'll be able to answer it. But yeah, I think we should have the I think, you know, I felt it was the right moment to do this. And in all this year, I want to start putting out a lot of stuff that we did. We're going to get the Righteous M.O.B website up, and we're just going to start re-releasing a lot of the material from the early 90s to mid 90s and stuff like that. And, you know, I had current projects I'm working with, like the Weirdos out of Oklahoma City. I did a couple projects with them. I was working with them on a management deal for a little while, but we're more like, you know, we got an album project that I can't name the title yet, but we're going to be working on. It's going to be a good album. And it definitely would have been great if it came out during the whole thing with George Floyd, like right prior to that. But I think we still can do it. And it's I don't want to say a title yet, but I'll keep you in the loop about it. But if you guys, the guys out of Oklahoma City that we were working with called Weirdos, that's like one of the current artists I was working on. In recent time, I produced a song called Fire and Water for them that came out maybe in 2014 that did pretty good. So, you know.
Okay. It's really dope. Cool. Well, you know, I want to go back to something that you said earlier, where you were saying, as far as, you know, hip hop evolving, you know, like with the newer artists, sometimes it's like, you know, really, you can't really fault them for not knowing. So like, what do you feel is like, how do you feel that like the, I guess what they say, you know, 25 years ago, I guess they would label it old school or what have you. We don't feel like it's old school, but yeah. That's what they would label it, right? So what do you think that, you know, our generation and newer generation can learn from each other? Because a lot of times it seems like, you know, there's a generational gap per se, you know, and like, you know, sometimes it doesn't seem like the newer artists may, you know, either know about, you know, the previous generation, what we did, or respect what, you know, we were doing. So what do you feel like we can learn from each other? How could we mend these fences?
So yeah, so it's definitely a combination of the two. Is a lack of respect, and there's a lack of maybe not having the knowledge of, right? So with these new artists, and a lot of them who are rappers, the ones especially, because look, I'm a precursor with this. You had artists at one time that could be mainstream, but still be MCs. And my perfect example to this, if someone today asked me they want to start DJing and spinning hip hop, what's one record they definitely should have in their crates, I would say Mobb Deep Shook Ones, because you could play that one in a college radio type underground setting. You could play it on a mainstream radio. You could play it at a huge party. You could play it at a Sweet 16 wedding. It's a record that I think breaks all barriers, because it's a you could dance to it, but you can nod your head to it. You can listen to it in your car. You could be in your house doing some stuff and listen to it. You can work out to it, you know. And I think they definitely had their finger on the pulse, and they weren't rapping in that. They were MCing. We listened to the lyrics, Shook Ones. They were MCing. And I think that record is a perfect example of how you can coexist in all the worlds. But what I'm looking at now is saying that a lot of artists now, they're doing a perfect job of being great businesses. When I say that, I mean, if right now, if we want to come out with a product that's similar to something else, we're going to go to the top 3 products and make sure our product fits along with them. And that's why when you go in a supermarket aisle, you see a shelf of the same thing with just different names on it. And it's nothing that stands out. But every so often when you're on that shelf and you're looking for something, there's one product that when you taste it, and the way they label it, the way they package, their bottle's not as tall or as wider, or the box is shaped different. And that is the MC. That is the person. And see, at one point we had a plethora of MCs, but now we have a plethora of rappers. And right now our aisles of the supermarket is filled with the same product. We need, so, and in business, you have to have a differentiator. And I don't think people differentiate themselves too much, because you get a lot of, I mean, a Kia is nothing but a Hyundai, so you have all these different things that are the same, but just a little bit different. MCs need to, if you want to categorize MC, you need to put a spice to your thing. Like I turn on the radio and some of these artists, I may get confused because not only are their rap styles the same, the way they rap is the way the words they're choosing to say are the same, and their voices are almost similar. Whereas, at one point, when you listen to a G rap record or versus a Q-Tip versus a Mos Def, I don't even have to ask you who, like, you don't have to look at a playlist of a featured record because the voices are very distinctive. And, Guru said it before, you got to have a voice. Now, I'm not going to prescribe that only way you could be an MC or really, really, really rap or really come up with a record is to have a voice. But, now that really makes sense because there's a lot of artists now that I don't know the difference. And then not only do they sound the same, a lot of them got the same names. Like, you talk to some younger, so you like the Baby. Oh yeah, I like Little Baby. No, not Little Baby, the Baby.
The Baby.
No disrespect. No disrespect. But now,
Right.
not only is your style the same things you're talking about is the same, your voice is the same, your name is the same, right? That's just like, when a store has a store brand of cornflakes, they call it flaky corn. Okay, well, give me a box of cornflakes, Mom. I want some cornflakes. Okay, she bring home flaky corn. Like, no, I want the cornflakes. I don't know. They look the same. They both got a white box and they say flake. They got corn and flaking in it. So it's like the same thing, right? There's nothing different.
Right.
If somebody comes out with frosted flakes, oh, there's a tiger. I'm great. I'm this. I'm that. That's the MC. Flaky corn, cornflakes, Tony the Tiger. So, you have to have the differentiator. And what was the differentiator? May not have been good for us, but it was the sugar on the flakes. That's why, but it was what made it stand above everything else. So if I could say any advice to anyone who's rapping, and if you're just like 19 or 18, just getting into it, and you look back, your last 7 years you're just doing what business does. Find something that works. It's not broken. Why fix it? Put it in there. Do the status quo. Just what's the difference between Nike and Reeboks? Nike had a better marketing idea and a bigger marketing budget. The sneakers were made, it cost the same amount of money to make Nike cross trainers as it did to cost Reeboks trainers at that time when Nike took flight. The only thing Nike did do different was had a little bit more money in marketing and took a chance with a brother named Michael Jordan that took it to the next level. But as far as the cross trainer, the sneaker that sold the most, both of them had a cross trainer line. If you take a cross trainer, a Nike cross trainer, Reebok cross trainer, and put them side by side, it was almost the same sneaker. Oh. Nike just had a different marketing budget and a slightly different marketing plan that made it excel. And to put a battery in the back, they put Michael Jordan.
Right.
So,
and I think that record companies actually like perpetuate that. Like they won't, of course, for everyone to be the same. So it's like just like you said, a marketing machine, whatever's going to make that money, whatever's going to, sell, then that's what's going to be it. You feel what I'm saying? So
absolutely. I've been in those meetings. I worked at places and I've been in those meetings where when we shop in our demos, like, well, you got a little bit like this, for can't you sound a little bit more like that? No, I can't sound a little bit more like that. That's what that man is doing. That woman is doing. I'm not trying to take their thing. Because the hip hop I grew out, it was all about having your own style. You got to have style and learn to be original. And everybody don't want to come and diss you. Quote from KRS One. You got to have style and learn to be original.
Ahsan, I'm going to pause for just a moment because I'm going to need to go get my charger.
Oh, okay.
I apologize.
That's good.
Just a second. I don't want this to stop on us. Okay. So we're going to edit this though. Just hold on a second. Okay.
Yeah, and I got to do something real quick too.
Okay. Hold on.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And we're back.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, so yeah, originality. I mean, it's definitely important. It's like, back in the day, that was like a crime.
Yeah.
You
Go
know,
biting aloud.
right. You
What
feel
did
me?
Master A said? What Master say in the symphony? There was a sign at the door saying no biting allowed. And if you didn't read it, I guess you do so, or you be stranded, just like Caruso. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, it's a sign on the door, no biting allowed.
Yeah, they need to read that for sure. Okay.
Master Ace.
Yes, yes. So here's a question. So what was the moment where you felt like you just fell in love with hip hop? What was the one thing just like,
Wow, man, that's crazy. I think when I first was introduced to, my older cousin, he, was the first one I heard. We talked about MCs and the tapes and stuff like that. And I mean, I would say Rapper's Delight. I mean, of course, everybody during that era, it's got a record on vinyl, that's playing on the radio with this thing that you heard about. Yeah, I loved it prior to that. I mean, I knew about it prior to that, like just the rhyme and stuff. But I would say I definitely gravitated to it because I think I knew the whole Rapper's Delight song like after 2 times of hearing it. And I think I love the fact that I knew how to say it and deliver it. And then I got to see some DJs at some cookouts my mother was doing and seeing it. And I liked it. I thought it was always cool. Watching TV shows that had DJs. I thought the fact that people talk on the radio was always cool. I liked what BLS was doing. But I think when I started seeing people scratch like Flash and all them, and Wild Style, I was DJing prior to Wild Style. I mean, I was going over to another DJ's house and using his equipment and watching him. And then I got my equipment, and then Wild Style came, Wild Style was out, and watching that, I wanted to do exactly what Flash is doing, because when I wanted to get my equipment, I was just going to buy any turntables. My father, man, he was like, I got to get you 1200s. So what is a 1200? All these things made by Technique, they 1200 turntables. I said, well, look, we can just go ahead. I don't worry about this. Let's just go on over to this Crazy Eddie or this Druckers or whatever the store is out here. Let's just get the turntable. You as a kid, you want it now, want it now, want it now. Don't worry, they don't have Technique 1200s there, but they got turntable. I need a turntable. I need my Newmark mixer. I need my stuff. And he was like, nah, you got to have what Flashing the Boys. That's what he used to always say. Flashing them boys we use. And they use the Technique 1200s. I'm going to get it off the back of the truck. So off the back of the truck, what does that mean? Like, no, this is a store. We can go there. Like, no, I'm going to get a better deal off the back of the truck. I had no idea what the back of a truck meant. But, later on in life, I know what it means. But, he wanted me to get the 1200s. And I really always tell people that story. But I think when I got the record, Spoonie G, 1 for the trouble, 2 for the time. Come on, y'all. Let's rock that. And I used to just cut the hell out of that record. I went and bought another copy. And then, I knew I wanted to do something with music when, as more stuff came out, Tilla Rock, It's Yours. When I heard Africa Bambaataa and Zulu Nation, when they put out their few records, and I love comic books, and that first 12-inch cover had Africa Bambaataa and them all like in comic book style, Wiz Kid, Globe, everybody had like a superhero power. I'm like, oh, I love this. And then when Sucker MCs came out and I got those records and just knowing how to backspin and juggle at a young age. I was a kid when this stuff, and I was doing all this stuff. And when I finally got my turntables, I knew I wanted to do it. I knew I wanted to do something with hip hop music. I already had wanted to do something with music prior to. My parents bought me a drum set when I was maybe 4 or 5, and they bought me a drum set. And then I remember when I went to all right, so here goes. I think I might have revealed this on another show, but my first instrument outside of the drum that I learned how to play was the violin. And I don't think my dad was too cool on that, but I was supposed to get the saxophone or the French horn. My friend had a French horn. And then when I remember like it was band day and we had to pick an instrument. And when I put the French horn, I'm a little skinny kid. I got to carry this home when I walk back and forth. Like, nah, I ain't not picking it. I don't want the French horn. As a matter of fact, when we're walking, he's always hitting our knees. So I'm not messing with that. So I said, maybe a saxophone. I love the way saxophone look and sound. I love jazz music. My uncle was a big jazz. He was always scatting. But I said the saxophone, but it had too many buttons. It was like when, you know, when the Atari joystick went to like the crazy Xbox controller, there's just too many buttons on there. I'm not messing with the saxophone. There's too many buttons to push. So the violin, lightweight, portable, a couple strings, and I was able to play something real quick that the guy showed me. So I went to the violin. But then when I went in band, I did go back to the drum. So you know, I wanted to do music beforehand. I wanted to put together a singing group, but I can't sing.
Well, as long as you can harmonize, though, you have to be the lead in the front. You could be the back in the background.
Yeah, and it's funny. And when I moved to the town of where I was in New Jersey, where you know, Righteous M.O.B is from Franklin, next to New Brunswick. So Franklin, New Brunswick, they sister brother type towns. I remember when I first moved out there, I said, "Yo, man, we got to make a New Edition group because the girls love New Edition, man. We can be a New Edition group." The New Edition was older than, you know, they're older than I am, but I was like, "Yo, we need to do a New Edition group," but we just couldn't get it together. I couldn't sing, but no disrespect, but can Michael Bivins sing?
I think we see from the New Edition story that he wasn't a singer.
But but I guess I would have been the Mike Bivins that if we had ever pulled it off, I'd have been the Mike Bivins because I can't. I mean, I could sing certain songs. I could hit the note, but my cousins are more blessed with the singing voice. I could write a rhyme though, even though I'm a producer DJ. I could write a rhyme. That's not even hard to me, and I appreciate lyrics and stuff like that. But and the ear for music and stuff like that. I think that's what I got, and I draw. So this is like a, you know. Oh, nice, good, deep. I love that. So I think I got my passion for hip hop the early 80s, and as everything started unrolling and it went on that roller coaster ride, and you know, Red Alert, all those guys were on the radio and I'm listening to them. I was that kid in school that would listen to, like, not even just Red Alert. I would listen to a station called WHBI where Mr. Magic was there prior to BLS, and the Awesome Two. Peace to the Awesome Two. Those are my brothers, Teddy Ted and Special K. I speak to them all the time. And I used to listen to those guys and, you know, get the records early on my cassette and bring them to school and be like, "Yo, y'all ain't up on this, y'all ain't up on that, y'all ain't up on this, and y'all ain't up on that." So that just became me, like always wanting the newest, freshest talent. I wanted to be the one to have when I got my car and I had my big system in the back of the car. I wasn't playing the same thing everyone was playing in their car. I played new stuff all the time. I always wanted the newest stuff when it came to clothes, music, and whatever. I wanted to say, "Yo, you don't know nothing about this." And then it's just naturally when it came to trying to work with artists, I always wanted to work with the newest and freshest artists and be able to expose them. And I'm thinking that's my lane. And okay, it didn't go the way we planned before, but like Red always said, man, as long as you're here, you always could do it. You know, you could do what you got to do. So I'm like, you know what? Let me start telling the story. Because when I tell people, I mean, I could go with a lot of stories and a lot of on some Forrest Gump, how my life met a lot of great people and did some stuff, man. And it's like, yo, let me start telling the story. And then, you know, re-releasing this music and re-releasing this stuff, you know, it's great.
That's right. So basically what you're doing is you're just reinventing yourself. That's all you're doing, you know. So all the greats say that's what you got to do. So that's what you're doing.
So I'm listening too.
All right. So you got to tell everybody before we wrap it up, how can we all get a copy? How can we find the Art of Emceeing website, social media, everything? What do we need to know?
All right. So we have the right now you can stream it on Audiomack. The Art of Emceeing. Just look up my profile, Ahsan The Golden Child, AHSAN The Golden Child. Also on Instagram, Ahsan The Golden Child. I'm not updating my Facebook and Twitter like I used to. I got a crazy story with Twitter, but right now Instagram is the one I try to keep up with. I could do a better job at and more of a due diligence on doing it. But that's where I put most information. I'm gonna redo my website and I start having all that. So now it just all of a sudden became a roller coaster, this whole thing of putting this thing back out. So now since we're really in the thick of doing it, I gotta have more ways so people connect to me online. But right now, Ahsan The Golden Child at Instagram, AHSAN The Golden Child. That's gonna be my main part where I put stuff up so that you'll know. And then as I put the new website, you'll know. As we start releasing more stuff from Righteous M.O.B from the archives, you'll know from there. But we, you know, what else another way? The Art of Emceeing is on SoundCloud and on Audiomack. we're working on Bandcamp. I was talking to John Robinson from Science of Life, and he was giving me some things that we should probably do with the Art of Emceeing on Bandcamp. So I'm gonna take his advice because he's successful at being an independent artist. So, want to grow, each one teach one. Going to take some of his pointers and do that for Bandcamp. Ironically enough, I have gotten hit in Instagram for people that want the cassette. I'm like, the cassette? I don't have any more of those. I might have like 1 or 2 in the garage, and I got to clean that thing out. There might be 1 or 2 or 3 in the garage. But so I found a place where I could get blank cassettes, and I didn't know it was a thing, but people are buying cassettes again. So we're going to go ahead and have we're going to make a handful of copies, see what it does. So on my site or the Righteous M.O.B site, we will have the actual Art of Emceeing cassette for those who just, and I didn't know they're selling boxes again. The radios, they revamped those radios, so they're selling those, or people are trying to buy old ones off of eBay or stuff like that. So we're going to try to get that out. But yeah, right now it's Ahsan The Golden Child on Instagram. We're going to get the website out. Just just follow me, hit me up, whatever, and I'll get back to everyone and let you know. We're growing this thing again. And it's funny because I help other people market their business, and I don't have like the main tools that I tell them they need to have. But hey, whatever.
Whatever we can do to definitely help you in your mission, just please let us know, and we definitely want to be a part of it. So
absolutely. Oh, we are going to release it on the Spotify title. I'm working that out too, because on SoundCloud, the problem that we ran into, Black Mel, who most of y'all probably know him as Superstition from North Carolina, his song on SoundCloud, they won't play it because he rhymed over a Biggie Small instrumental, and SoundCloud with their algorithm is having some issues with that. But you can hear it on Audiomack, and I don't think it's going to be an issue with Bandcamp. But I'm not sure what's going to happen with Apple Tidal and Spotify. But we have it up there for free. You could just stream it. Like you can go to Audiomack and play the whole thing. You can go to SoundCloud, play everything except for that song. But those are the best ways to hear it. And once I get my site up, I'm going to put it on there too. I'm just going to have a version on there as well.
Cool. Well, if you definitely still talk to, the artist that was on there. We also are doing something called Bars for Your Mind. So, okay. Basically, if anybody want to come and spit for that, then we
absolutely
would love that for sure.
Yeah, I'll let them know. Like Elo Kush is still doing stuff. You got John Robinson, ID, Science of Life, rest in peace. Willoughby, the third member of Science of Life. He, no longer here with us on Earth, but his spirit transcend to the highest self. So, I want to say throughout him. But I'll definitely talk to some of the artists that are still doing stuff if they want to get up on here. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. That's not a problem.
Yeah. So any more shout outs you want to give to anybody?
I don't want to start doing that because then I'll start forgetting, you know what I'm saying? So I'll just like everybody who's in my circle, who's supportive of this, like definitely I want to say, divine love to everybody for, getting behind me on this and let's see where this goes. Like, we could tell an old story as we start putting out this new stuff and taking media to the next level. Yes.
Well, I have definitely enjoyed this conversation.
Absolutely. I did too.
Definitely a conversation I needed for today. And thank you so much again. You come back anytime.
Thank you.
Definitely can be a guest and just let us know everything about the updates that you're having, this and your next release too that you plan on doing. So please just let us know everything that you have coming up. Okay.
Absolutely. All right, then. Thank you.
Yes. Well, again, this is Ahsan The Golden Child with us, and it's the Boom Bap Hour. Keep it locked.
Yep.